lightworkers and star seeds, and this is us being us. So Brandon, would you like to just say hi, say hello, and then we'll go around the table and we'll just say hi.
Ladies, gentlemen, when you arrive, welcome. I'm grateful for being here. I am from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was welcomed to this group, and I was told that I was on someone else's grid, and we were supposed to link up, and this is how we linked up through Skype. I'm really not fully, or I don't fully understand what this group of teachers, what our purpose is, or what our scope is for this group. I have been in other groups where we talk about what's changing, what's truth, what type of energy is coming in, what to expect, past lives, past life regressions, trauma healing, Reiki healing. I guess I'm a decipher, a decoder. I can see through multiple dimensions and see the truth and the discrepancies. So I read energy, but I also read people as a former interrogator. That's kind of what I do. But this, I had my awakening about 2 years ago, and I went through the whole quantum healing, Dolores Cannon, Alice and Co. Other individuals had my own quantum healing session done, my own Akashic records. And I guess, some people could say that I am a newbie, but now that the quickening is happening, there's more and more individuals waking up, and I see myself assisting them and having to pull myself away from the fray and ground myself more, seeing that Earth is moving through a space and time that hasn't really had humans on top of it that we can really remember on the surface, and we're being immersed in this photonic light. And I have to remember that I have to ground myself and remain in the now and not so much in the past or future or what's going to happen. But I am very happy. I am joy-filled to be a part of this group and to assist and help in any way that I can. Information-wise, I have a vast array of information and knowledge. So what I've been told, I don't like to gloat. I like to remain humble in my beingness. And yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh God, I was filling your codes as you were. Unmute. It's not working. Is it working?
Yeah, now it is.
I'm sorry, it has a mind of its own. It says it's muted, and when I was pressing unmute, it was saying it was not muted. So my computer's having a mind of its own tonight. So, like it did when we did our recording last week with Laura and Candy, like you're seeing me saying we recorded it, and I went off, but they could still see me, but my camera, it didn't record my vision. So anyway, Laura, would you like to say a bit about you and your It's You Guru and plug yourself and whatever else?
Sure. So as Brandon kind of mentioned, when he woke up, that was for me like 2009, 2010. And fast forward, I have a business with my soul sister, Candy. It's called It's You Guru, and we help people kind of like, we're translators. So Paula hopefully will jump on, and she's the card lady, cardology. And so Katie and I are both sixes. I'm the six of clubs, she's a six of diamonds, and that means we bridge worlds. So we feel like we can translate for the regular person who's actually Shauna Ava told us this week she started calling them sleeping beauties, which I thought was really sweet. But we kind of feel like we can talk to the average person and change the language over into. Can you mute? Me? Am I okay? Tim's here. Anyway, it's youguru.com, and we're also on YouTube for videos for people that you can share with your friends who are just coming onto the awakening. So, hi, Tim. It's your turn.
Hi.
Just kidding. We won't make you go next. You don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm going to mute.
Okay, Tim. This is Tim. He's in London. I expect he'll say a bit more. And this is Brandon, who's you've not met yet, but I'm sure you two will be working together. So, do you want to say hi, Tim, and what you do and whatever?
Yeah, what do I do? Hi everyone. First of all, nice to connect again. And I'm in London, like Liara said. I got kind of dragged back here. I used to live in Singapore for a bit, about 6 years, and then went to Bali, and then there was a volcano, and I ran away from Bali, but never needed to. And then I came back to London, and I set up a business around a scientist who has some extraordinary revelations that maybe people will be interested to hear, maybe not. But he's just issued a paper called The True Concept of the Atom, which kind of explains the whole of creation. As in all particle physics is nonsense with the nucleus and the proton, neutron, and electron. Yeah, the paper is very interesting. I can go into more detail if anyone's interested. But from his science, he had a product which protects all of your, or harmonizes all of the radiation that comes into any phone, laptop, Wi-Fi router, and it does it all through conscious human intent and using a new photon that's arrived in our atmosphere only in the last 20 years. So I guess it must be a gift of the new era of consciousness, and it's here for us to use to create solutions like free energy and things like that. So I'm working with him, and it's fascinating because we can structure water, we can we can do colloidal silvers, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing as a business. But what I'm finding is that no one seems to care that they're being irradiated to high heaven. It's like trying to knock on a few doors and wake people up. It's not really happening at the moment, but one thing's for sure, which is that the truth will come through, I think. So I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I'm not happy with the performance yet. But it is just what it is. So I'm at the moment living with my parents. Came back from Singapore and moved in with them. They don't know anything about any of this stuff, so I have to find a little room at the top of the house where, just in case anyone starts talking some light language or something, I can't have them hearing all of that. So yeah, that was just fun. Yeah, so that's me. I'm in London. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Shanna, do you want to just say hello briefly? She's our rock, our oak tree.
Yes, I'm Shauna. I live in Texas. I'm admin for a bunch of all of Annette's different sites. So I'm basically the rock, the little mother that everybody counts on to be on here to ground. I've been awake for a while. I'm not as advanced as the rest of you are at this point, but I'm very intuitive. I've had multiple lifetimes as a shaman. So a lot of that carries with me. So I've been pulled in because I'm part of the family and still learning. And I believe Paula just popped in.
I did, and I'm crying already.
Oh no.
I could feel when you guys started because I started to cry.
Right, come on, Paula, it's your turn. You're up. Say hello, what you do.
Hi. So, I'm an intuitive.
Camera?
What?
Camera?
You can't see me?
No.
Oh, I thought I hit camera on and I hit camera off. Okay, yeah, I'm an intuitive, and I use the destiny cards to to read for people, but basically I just talk to their higher selves and their guides and stuff, and I think my primary job really is just holding consciousness for the Great Awakening on the planet. I think it matters very little what I do. It's just more about being here.
Getting any of this new energy since we had the 333 on the 3rd of March and those waves that came through? What's everybody been feeling since that Sunday? Anybody just stick your hand up and just go for it if you've been feeling anything.
I've just been joyful, happy.
I want to know about Shelby.
Yeah.
She's so
Right.
quiet.
I
Sorry.
forgot.
Okay. Hello, my name is Shelby. I'm from Oregon. I've had my reawakening in 2011. I'm certified Reiki master. Doing Reiki never really felt right for me. And so I actually found out a couple of days ago that I'm not really doing Reiki, I'm doing the reconnective healing. And that makes more sense. It feels better. I speak light language, sign light language, bright light language, and yeah, that's me.
I didn't forget anybody else. Sorry, Shelby. I completely
That's
forgot
okay.
you. No, it's because we've just done a quick hello off.
Well,
Right.
what about you?
Oh, you all know about me. I'm just me. I'm just a little enigma from another part of the universe coming to say hello. Hello. Are we awake yet? Are we there yet, Mum? So, anybody been? You've got the storm over there in America, and funny enough, we've got a little micro storm over here in the UK, knocking weather off and knocking Facebook off and knocking all sorts off, while everybody's having to stay at home and not go to work and do inner processing. I think that's by design, by galactic design, to be honest, and spiritual design, that everybody's been forced to stay in their houses recently and do inner processing work. So if anybody wants to know, just say what's been going on, waking up feeling drunk, like you've been out partying all night and you've got a hangover. That's what I'm going through at the moment, and I don't drink. So just go for it. Anybody who wants to chip in what you're going through right now in the last couple of 24 hours maybe.
Yeah, Candy and I woke up this morning exhausted, and then we had all these plans for the day and gave up and just took a nap instead. But I had messaged with Liara and she said punch drunk, and that's it. It just feels like, I mean, I took the nap, but I could feel all the energy coming in and all the ringing in my ears. So once I kind of just slept, I guess maybe it makes the energy come in faster and kind of go through and clear faster. I felt better, but still just exhausted. And yeah, I didn't want to really do anything today.
Yeah, anybody jump in? Just jump in.
I was the same. After yesterday, it was kind of weird. I was chasing Annette for just some advice, and I ended up on a call with Shelby, and we all ended up talking light language. It was just so bizarre and amazing at the same time. And in the afternoon, I just had to have I just zonked out. I was done. 25, 30 minutes just gone. So yeah, that was amazing because I was on a real high from that, and then in the afternoon I just went boom, you got to shut down. So there's a lot of stuff processing and so on, but personally I feel like there's a lot of pressure in my head, and someone mentioned ringing in the ears and stuff. I've just got it feels like my head's not, someone's just pumped it up in the sides, and it's just like really sort of light and sort of pressurized. And I don't know if you can hear, but I just feel like it's the same thing as in my chest, in my lungs. I feel like I'm sort of, at maximum capacity sort of thing, but I feel really strong in my body. Like I just did some yoga tonight, and I was just like, wow, everything's like really easy. I'm just like aligned, So that's strange. It's like there's some, I'm being buoyed by some kind of energy that's coming through, I think. So that's good. Yeah, that's me. And I do tend to get tired anyway, so I drift in and out of tiredness. But yeah, sometimes it just comes in and just goes bang, just lie down because you're not going to get anything done for the next half an hour. Just lie down.
I wrote 4 words down earlier to discuss, and you've brought it up because you went in on our little girly chat while we were putting our makeup on and making ourselves look presentable. I just put on here pressure, ears, equalising, and it's like being on a plane when you're going up on a plane, when you've got or diving in the sea, when you've got to equalise if you dive or you're going in a plane, you've got to blow your ears out. Well, because we're going into higher pressure, we've got to equalize our ears, and the ears pressure and the head pressure and the heart pressure. It's like you constantly feel like you're coming up from being on a deep sea dive, and you've got to blow to get your ears equalized. And then it's like
and your eyes dry out as well, right? Does anyone else's eyes dry out towards the end of the evening, like just sort of sticky eyes? Maybe just me. I don't know. Yeah.
Shana, you were talking about your eyes getting all dry. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, mine are dried, like my eyelids, and everything is flaking. The skin, my eyes are itching like crazy. My forehead, the skin's peeling off up in here. I'm all puffy. Like I have to really watch myself that I don't just scratch, what out of it and have these horrible marks. Plus inside the eyes, real stringy, like sticky, dry, goopy stuff. I know that sounds gnarly, but just the eyes are bugging the what out of me. My forehead, it's just like from here up, just I can't quit it's just a constant itching. I've tried everything, the aloe, you name it. Once all this started, I took a mirror and went outside, looked into the sunlight, and I'm covered with crystals. So we're getting the crystalline body, my arms, everything. I'm sitting there looking, and I come in like a little kid, like, oh my God, I've got crystals all over me. So I know that's probably what's coming in, and I'm constantly seeing little black flicks on my face, just like little flicks of something. So I'm assuming that this might have something to do with the crystalline light body. Not real sure, but it's been driving me up. And my scalp. I've never had my scalp itch so crazy. So that's what I'm dealing with is and I'm sitting here doing it now. Then when you talk about it, the itchy stuff, then it's like thinking of bugs, and then you're itching.
It does feel like cobwebs on your face, I think, as well. It's like, you wake up, it feels like you've got cobwebs all over you, and there's none. But
yeah,
it's like you're breaking the old codes, and it's on you, and it's like you're waking up, and it's like pulling it off you, like
I've had
your body.
You feel like something's crawling on you, and there's nothing there. Yeah, so that's what I've been dealing with. Go ahead.
So I think I can feel something coming.
Yes, Brandon's dying. He's got to talk. Your turn, Brandon. Then Paula.
No, ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay, I'll just make it really quick. I was just going to say like what Tim was experiencing. This was a couple weeks ago, but I had just gotten done painting. I'm a paint contractor. That's the other thing that I do. And I was so concerned that I was having high blood pressure, but it was only in my head. And I typically have really low blood pressure. So I stopped at the grocery store, and it was like 80/68. Which is normal for me. I have really low blood pressure. And I got home and I called my friend Pat, and she's like, the same exact thing is happening to me, where I feel like someone's blowing up a balloon inside my head. And then she's training to do regressions. And so we did a QHHT session, and we asked about that. And what we got is that we kind of dipped our heads into this decompression energy. So my sense of it is that it's lower pressure, like it's less dense, like you're in the mountains and then you go down to sea level, the air is more dense, and we always describe 3D as really dense. I think it's de-densifying, which I think is Well, and they said that we're all in now, which really feels right. And I've been feeling this expansive, like this, there's so much more room, like a baby being born and being disoriented with all the space. And I was getting to that a lot of people are experiencing it as anxiety because they're like, I don't know what to do with all this space. And we're used to having a really tight set of reference points, just beliefs and ideas and fixed things. And sorry, this isn't quick anymore, Brandon, but anyway, I've just been feeling all of those old paradigms, old matrix and old stuff just falling away, and even reference points for like motivation and desire, like why do I want to do anything? And my friend Pat and I were like, I just don't care about anything anymore. So like in a good way. Yeah, just not caring. Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
I'm gonna take everything that everyone said and say exactly. The ringing in the ears, the pressure in the head, the third eye itching and like pulsating, and like the crystals. It's like purging the last residue of old paradigms that are stuck within our cellular structures. Finally, falling away, and it's opening up like the honeycomb void for new photonic light, new ideologies, new everything. Myself, like right now, I'm shaking. Like I don't know why I'm shaking. I know it's energy. There's a lot of electricity going up and down my back, and I feel like my uh, not rewiring. I've gone through that. Like that was crazy. The whole new rewiring of the nervous system and the glands. But now it's more of a mindset of like it's not confusion, but a state of are we there yet? Like I've done X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. When am I gonna get back to A, back home, or when are we gonna run across the finish line? And I know this isn't. It's all about the journey, and it's all about the feeling the symptoms and recognizing the symptoms and assisting those that are ahead of us and behind us on this consciousness ladder, one would say. It's not that I feel out of alignment. It's just a different type of alignment on a different. I wouldn't say a higher echelon, but maybe a lateral sense of alignment. It's different. Ever since I got back from Ireland and England, it's like my reality has been different, and that probably goes along with the lineage and heritage timelines of my past timelines that I was healing while I was in Ireland and England, and it's causing a ripple effect in time and space into the now kind of like a butterfly effect. So maybe that is the side effects, or the, I don't want to say repercussion, but the side effects of going and healing those lineage lines or those traumatic experiences through my my heritage or my lineage. But other than that, light language, I've been getting, like recently, I went into like a void where I wasn't getting any downloads. But last night, I posted it on my Facebook page, and no, I haven't even done a YouTube video, but I posted, I received a like an instant download. It was very fast. It said it was the storm is effing close, and the tribe of Dan. I'm like, okay, tribe of Dan. So I instantly threw that out to the social media platforms that I'm a part of, and I had some feedback about the tribe of Dan, and a lot of people are saying yes, it feels like something is getting closer.
Yeah. Can I just jump in quickly? I posted on my Liara page. Sorry, if you haven't, how many days ago I was getting the tribe of Tuatha Danann, the Tuatha De Danann, the lost tribe live down. I don't know if everyone else saw that, so we all getting you. I'm getting the goosebumps. We all know you getting the download from the team. So yeah, go on. We're the lost tribe of Israel, or the lost tribe. So yeah, go on.
So I was I threw that out there, and then I really don't have I haven't had prophetic dreams like I usually do, or my ability to astral project. It's kind of like it's like the switch has been turned off. Like I'm in quarantine. Like no, not yet. It's not safe for you to go out and adventure and go do your thing right now, or to go out and do what we do in the astrals or on our missions. Not right yet. So I haven't really had any of my my prophetic dreams or revelations here lately. Maybe it's because of this energy that's coming in and the new, not timelines, but the it's like a new, and I don't want to say void. It's like
destination, and we're sort of like on the aeroplane, and we can't jump off the plane because we're still taxiing around the airport.
Yes, and it's like, when can I get off? When can I get off? When can I go and do my thing again? Or when can I get back to doing what I'm used to doing? Other than that, I mean, I feel amazing. Besides the shaking.
Do you do the grounding process? Because I know that everybody's probably here does their own specific grounding process. Mine is to connect to the sun and the earth and come back up and then spread my bubbles out. I've collapsed all my chakras years ago into my heart and then spread them out. So I'm sat within a chakra field of bubbles, concentric bubbles, with the lowest being on the outside. But everyone's got their own grounding process, but that's going out the window now. So we have to find a new way to ground.
Why do we have to find a new way to ground? And what do we need to be doing? Any suggestions? Anyone?
Yeah, from what I'm getting, it's like we've been on this earth in a particular resonance, and we've been grounding a particular part of the universe's frequency coming through. But that, like I said in my video, the universe is in a different sort of. So that it's really hard. So it's the bubble of the universe. This is our universe, and it's inside a quarantine bubble, and within that's our solar system. But that has been moved to a different part and a higher part. So gradually the new pressures, the new energy of the new part of where we are is coming in, and it's upgrading the earth. It's everything, and the suns are upgrading, the frequencies are upgrading because we're pressurizing, and the solar system's in like a protective quarantine field almost. The Earth's in a protective quarantine field. Everybody in 3D's in their own protective quarantine field. We shouldn't be in a quarantine bubble as it was. We were in the Earth atmosphere now because she's 5D energy, so we should have popped our bubbles and be in that. That's why this feeling of spaciousness, but at the same time the inner earth and the outer earth is trying to equalize that pressure slowly, because there's still human beings walking around within a 3D protective field, their own little protective bubbles, and we can't just go in and pop their bubble. It would really damage them. So we're gradually trying to help them, and that's why we've got to find a different way to ground, because when the earth, the energy coming up and the energy coming down is completely different resonance, and that's what I'm getting. We've got to, it's like we can't come up too quickly, we'll get the bends, if you know anything about what the bends are. Okay, that's it. That's what I got from my own download. If anyone can add to that. Tim, you're very quiet. What have you been getting? Because I know you've been having problems trying to get your information from your teams. It's like
yeah. So I've had a bit of a bizarre sort of few months since sort of November, when I had an extraordinary call where a channel brought my light team in, and I just asked them a whole load of questions, and we were only booked for an hour, and we ended up doing like 2 hours because it was so interesting, and she didn't even charge me for the extra because she was so into it as well. But it was a really revealing call. I mean, you know, I'm one of those people who I don't have a connection with my star family other than a feeling. You know, I don't have anything conscious to rely on. I don't have any dialogue. I don't have information coming through. But I first found out about this, I guess, about last April, and I was doing a healing retreat, if you like, and this woman who was amazing and does a lot of remote viewing and stuff, she just completely cleaned me out, as in, you know, we did a load of flushing, we did a load of medicine and all sorts of other things. It was great. But halfway through, she just said, look, we're really honored that you're here. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm having a great time. She said, I know, we're really, really honored that you're here. And I said, right, you're just, you know, being weird now. What are you talking about? And she's like, we know who you are. And then I was like, okay. And this was like sort of the first confirmation of something for me. And I said, so what have you got? You know, you tell me, because I'm not going to show my hand. And she said, well, you're going to play a big role in changing the matrix. That's what she said. And I was like, okay. And immediately that was just like, right, okay. And I wasn't sort of shocked, if you know what I mean. That was probably the second. I'd only had one hint of that before, which was from Simon Parks when I did a reading with him, and he was the person that told me that I was Lyran. And then things went quiet for a long time, and then she came in last April and said, you've got a really big role, and she started calling me Starman and all sorts of other weird things, but it was just funny. And then I thought, well, you know, nothing's happened since then, so I paid for one of these sessions, and I got direct contact with my guides that are from the Vega planet, and and we spoke, and they said, you know, they literally told me off straight away. They said, where the hell have you been? You know, what have you been doing? You know, you should have been checking in. You should have been da-da-da. And I'm like, well, I didn't know, you know, and it's so obvious now. But and then they said, look, we've got so much to do and so little time. And, you know, you've got to start calling us in. They told me what to do, what process to do. I asked them loads and loads of questions. And then I thought it would just be literally, you know, runway one, off we go, you know, take off, blah, blah, blah. And nothing's really progressed since then. So I call them in all the time. One of the big things that they said to me was that they were going to drop down a whole load of information. And then we got quite graphic about the fact that I would have to write it all down. I would have to draw it all out, and then I'd have to put it all together. And then it would be new technology that was going to change everything. And it was something that I'd already designed, and that it was up to me to remember it with their help, and then off we go, which is great. But you know, since then, I haven't had that information come through. They described it specifically as a drop down. They said, we're going to drop down all this stuff. You're going to have to receive it, write it out. So yeah, I have been having trouble just allowing that. I haven't forced it. I've basically just, yeah, I know exactly what happens when you try too hard and you desperately want something to happen. I haven't been in that state at all. I've just been literally like, here I am. I'm opening everything up. I'm ready. Anytime you want to go, let's do it. I've just gone through a lot of sort of clearing of any blocks I think I might have. So yeah, if anyone's got any advice on how best to welcome them in, I'd love to hear it.
I think I'll let Brandon go in a minute because I know he's itching, but to get going with this, because in my dream time I'm quite lucky. I do remember, and I think that's my role, is to remember the information and not know how not to put it into the consciousness, even though it's with me in physicality. I can hold it in, and then I've been seeing whole teams and little groups of us like this all coming together, family groups coming together, and it's like, yeah, you've got the information, you have designed it, but we've given those locks to those zip files to each other, and only groups like this can you unlock it. Sorry, Brandon, go on, you can rip now.
um, I'm kind of interested with the technology. Like, what type of technology is this? Is it going to support? Is it like quantum computer? Is it healing technology? Because I'm kind of a little big into technology and like the whole financial system, a quantum computer.
All I know is that they said that it's like nothing that you can possibly imagine right now. That's one thing they said. And the second thing I asked them whether it was anything to do with what I'm working with at the moment. And if you remember, I said I was working with a scientist who had channeled. I mean, he speaks to the spirit of Tesla, right? So he's really literally the continuation of Tesla's spirit. He's bringing that. All Tesla's knowledge in, but what Tesla didn't have was this new photon, which has arrived in the atmosphere for us to use, and it's a dodecahedron, which is a 12-sided pentagon, which fits all of the platonic solid shapes inside it, but it has cones going from the outside to the inside, and as I understand it, it's spinning light going inside. And here's the thing about this photon: it responds to conscious human intent. So if we can understand that it's here, because we can't see it, right? But if we can understand that it's here and find it in our meditations or in our sleep state or whatever it is, then we can pull it in, and it will only do benevolent things for the earth. But it is the gift. You know, lots of people talk about the fact that that space is basically just ultimate potential, ultimate energetic fields waiting to be potentialized. So there is just free energy everywhere waiting for us to download it. You know, the idea that, as I'm sure you're all aware, the control systems that are in place on this planet are all, you know, sort of almost backwards, you know, and, you know, we talked about the atom being an inverted truth, with the nucleus supposedly being the matter in the middle of an atom. And actually it's completely the opposite. In the middle of an atom is zero charge. It's the 0-point field. It's a magnetic field. It's the only magnetic field. There aren't any other external, if you like, magnetic fields. But from that 0 point is borrowed energy. So that 0-point field is pretty much the God field, right? It's the field from which all matter and all experience is generated. And from that 0-point field is drawn light rings, right? And this is the new concept of the atom that he's proposing. And the light rings have a particular behavior. So the light rings come out in 2 phases. So there's a compression phase and an expansion phase, right? And the compression phase is where the matter is made, right? So if you imagine these light rings are flickering so fast that you can't even see them, but the light ring effectively represents the matter. So what he's saying is this is the science of us being light beings, right? Every atom in our body is behaving the same way, plus the atom in this bed is the same, it's all operating in the same way. It's all living and dying in according to this rhythmic, what he calls a rhythmic interchange. And what that means is that the atom is basically living and dying, living and dying, living and dying. But what it's doing is it's borrowing the energy from the 0-point field to make the matter, and then it's giving it back, borrowing, giving it back, borrowing, giving it back until it dies. And it's very much like, the best parallel I can give is it's like breathing, right? So you're breathing in to prana, life force, oxygen to make your body, right? That's your fuel for your body. And then you breathe out. You breathe out the toxins, the discharge, the heat. So that's like the radiation process of your body. It's like the heat that I've got, you know, I'm getting rid of all of this stuff. So in his simple equation, if you top load the body with a whole load of imbalanced radiation from phones, then you're accelerating the death process in the atom. So we have to balance that radiation out. But back to the atom. So, you know, you've got this sort of this mirror of breathing in and breathing out in each atom that's being made and then discharging itself. And it's exactly like living. If you zoom out of the human body for a lifetime, first breath in, last breath out, And in between, you've got an ascendancy of the compression, which lasts until your mid-40s, maybe longer if we're lucky. And then the decay process starts to take over, right? And then it's your first breath into your last breath out. So that's your lifetime. So everything is just kind of on a scale, if you know what I mean. Everything mimics itself in nature. And by decoding that, we can literally find access to free energy through this new photon.
So do you think it's like, because I know what I've seen technology on ship where it's like this, and it's where you could, obviously we don't use pencils up there, it's like a thought, we can imprint a thought onto a physical implement. It's like we can say I can print with a printer, a thought printer. Sorry, we've not got thought printers down here, but we have them on ship. A thought printer. I'm going to imagine this skateboard, and I'm just going to communicate with the computer this image of this skateboard, and then I can thought print with my intent light codes into that to what it's going to do. So and then you stand on it and it's already programmed, and it already know the consciousness of the atoms already know what it's going to do from that. I don't know if you're getting me, because that's what I got.
Understand it, because when I went to his lecture, which is where I met him, one of the things he was talking about is that the future is going to be getting on a bike and saying to the bike, drive or ride, right? Same as a car. It's going to be literally getting into some vessel or something that's designed to move and just telling it to move, right?
Oh, without speaking though, you just by your DNA printing on it, like your DNA touches it, and it's because we've already got that with sacred sites where we touch it and it already encodes it. Knows the Gaia knows your code, your DNA, and it already knows stuff. So there is, I can't remember the name. There is a word for it, but it's on the ship. It's like I can just, if I touch something with DNA, it's encoded to my DNA. It's got my whole history of that DNA. That object knows exactly what I want it to do because it's recognised. It's like a thumbprint on your computer. It knows that's you. So if you're touching your bike, it reads your DNA. It's like you move your fingers without thinking you want to move your fingers. Well, you touch that bike, it's connected to you, and it knows what you want to do. A bit like Avatar, where they're shoving the ponytail into the horse's ponytail. But yeah, there is a name for it, and I can't remember what. Holographic encodement printing with your thoughts. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, but there is technology we've seen with
it
that.
Is true. Yeah, so I mean, two examples just to back that up in terms of what he's doing. And if anyone can think of ways that we can try and get his science a bit more kind of widespread, I think it'd be a good thing.
Can you tell us who it is?
Yeah,
Again?
his name is Ilya Lakisevich.
Yeah, have you contacted Emery Smith, because him and his scientists are wanting to bring? He's got a lot of black op hidden technology as well, and the guy he's talking to at the minute has got a lot. So maybe putting all this sort of stuff out there would be very useful.
Yeah, look, if you do you know him, Emery Smith?
Not personally, but we know people who do know him, don't we, Paula?
See, what I'm finding is that everything that I'm saying is so out there that I send a lot of emails and I try and tone it down and just say, look, I've got something really exciting to tell you. You know, the true concept of the atom, particle physics is a nonsense, and you know, by understanding this, we have a truth that sets us free, and you know, we have access to.
Well, we're all waiting.
Like and people just don't bother replying. You know, no one replies.
Well, Emery Smith and the guy he's working with. I sent you the video of the guy he's been working with, and I'm sure Brandon might know a few people in his field as well. But yeah, I can't remember the actual name of it. But there is, Linda Moulton Howe's got a video of these like drone things that came in, and they've got writing on them, and it's the writing that's programs the things to what they do. And Rendlesham Forest, when that craft landed and it came from the other side of Ireland, high Brazil, it had quantum. When you see the hieroglyphs, we know when we touch hieroglyphs we get a quantum code. It's already light coded into what that thing does, and it's just bringing that into the consciousness as we're speaking, you know, to write. We do light codes, I can write light codes, and it's just like, one day I should be able to write a light code on this piece of paper, and this piece of paper then will do what I want it to do.
Well, that's
write a tattoo on yourself as a light code and float. Do you know what I mean? There is a way of bringing this technology forward. It's just,
well,
you know.
that's exactly what our sticker does. That harmonizes the radiation fields, right? So, so the one discovery that he's made is that if you imagine that a radiation field is like this, I don't know if you can see that, but basically the 0 point should be dead center. Everything about his physics is the fact that there is a centering mind point in every atom, right? That centering mind point is what keeps you balanced, healthy, everything else, and that's centered by a conscious governing creator body, right? But because we are a bunch of atoms, which has the creator inside it, we are also expressions of the creator, right? So we can dial into that as well. So it's all about the quality of the wave field. And radiation, what it does is it pulls the 0 point around the middle, right? And the light rings are out of balance. So it's kind of like an agitated energy. And what happens is, because of the law of resonance, you get your balanced cell with the 0 point dialed straight in the middle, because that's what all of our natural balanced cells do. Then you get a man-made radiation cell where it's being pulled around the middle. And because of the law of resonance, because they're in the same frequency band, the human cell adopts the same rhythm and imbalance of the radiation. And on a vibrational level, that's why we're going to get sick. There's lots of biological reasons as well, but they don't really know why. So ultimately, what he's done is put on a patch, a little sticky patch of paper, the thought processes, right, that actually dial into those radiation fields and say, get back aligned with your geometric centered 0 point and the balance between your light rings. And the results that we get are amazing. And just to back that up, we do a blood sample test where I watch a video on a mobile for 20 minutes, and all my blood sticks together, literally the whole sample. So that's what we're talking about in terms of the imbalance that the radiation field, the impact of that imbalance has on the human body. And then we literally just put a sticker on, and I watched 20 minutes of video straight after that with my blood still all stuck together. I watched 20 minutes again with a sticker on it, and it all went back to normal. So it does happen instantly. And as you're saying, it is the way that we're able to channel our conscious human intent. But I think he's quite unique in that I don't think there's an awful lot of people out there doing this. But it is evidence that we could all be doing this. So yeah, that he says quite overtly that he uses the Deca, and that because he understands exactly why radiation fields vibrate and have a rhythm that they do, then he can reset it through his thoughts and put that on a piece of paper. The trouble is, if I try and explain that to my customers, they're like,
No, you don't need to explain it to 3D people. We need to get this information to the right people that do understand the consciousness technology. And the fact that I know that the technology we've not been allowed to access because we're all been out, we would have it being tried to be, it can't be used, but tried to be used for bad purposes, let's say, but because it takes that frequency out of harmony. And when you're using this frequency for harmony, so when you write in this light code, or you're writing the technology with light codes onto whatever you want to use that for, and the purpose goes into it, if it's within resonance of the harmonics of the source field, it will do exactly what you want it to do. If it's out of harmonics and it's bad, it won't. And it will send it in. That's why they're having so much problems in the black projects trying to get these ships to work on this technology that they're finding on crafts that are crashed. They can't get it to work because they're trying to turn something that's for good into bad, and it won't work, and they'll never get it to work, and they will never get anybody to fly those ships. It'll take one of us to fly one of them ships. So the technology takes, if you're in resonance with the technology, you're in resonance with the God field and source field, and it reads your thoughts. You can't hide your thoughts, you can't hide your feelings. It will just do what you want. I've been on a ship where it feels, as soon as you walk in, it's like you've been scanned, and every bit of your DNA is plugged into the whole of the ship. Everybody on that ship knows who you are, what you're doing, and it's a thought. It only takes a thought, and it's like, this room will look like this will do this. And if you're out of balance with that, you could destroy everybody on the ship. So you've got to be in balance. And to bring that technology down here and to try and have it into 3D hands, and all they want to do is shoot people and kill people. They're not ready for that technology, but we are.
That's absolutely it. And I mean, in his words, you couldn't use the Decker, which incidentally, I don't know if you can see that, but that's kind of what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that properly, but ultimately that's kind of how he draws it. But obviously you can't really see it. It's so tiny. So that's how he sees it in his meditation. And the way he describes it to me is that he sees it so clearly. And then, you know, he's able to use that to then, and I still don't know how he gets his thoughts onto a piece of paper. But all I know is that those stickers come to me and I put them on phones and they work amazingly. But he did say that you could not use the Decker technology to fire a missile, right? You just couldn't do it because it's not benevolent. It's not, you know, it's not something that's doing good for the planet. But you can, and this is another project that he's got going, which I find really interesting because it's very provable and it's also very positive, unlike the radiation message, which is like, hey, the thing that you love the most, your phone, is actually killing you. So unlike that, it's actually a positive message. But we've got an aircon unit. So he's making an aircon unit that you don't have to plug into any electrical power source, and you just go up to the aircon unit and you say 18 degrees, please, and it just maintains 18 degrees. So this is really exciting and you know, provable as well. And you know, the amount of money that we could save companies is phenomenal, and also, you know, all of this electricity is just taking its toll on everything on the planet, right? So so that could be the big game changer for us. I mean, I used to live in Singapore, and the amount of aircon units they had in one building alone was just obscene, you know. So yeah, it's exciting times.
I've got a couple of questions and comments. So much. I've been taking a lot of notes, but so there's a psychic called Utsava, and she makes predictions. And at the beginning of her most recent show, she was talking about some Tesla technology and held up some purple plates. And it was about, you know, reducing radiation. And I just, it's almost like a buzzword out there, Tesla technology. And I just wanted to, this is one question. And then I've got all this other stuff that correlates with what you're talking about that I want to share too. But I want to ask everybody, what is Tesla up to on the other side? Is he channeling a lot of this information through a lot of people at this time? What do you guys think?
I guess I'll go first. I consider Tesla to be a stream of consciousness rather than a, you know, necessarily a person. And so I figure I see that there was an incarnation, you know, the Tesla that we know and recognize, who was obviously dialed into that stream of consciousness, but a little bit like an archangel, you know, Archangel Michael or Raphael or whatever. You know, he's like a scientific angel, if you like, and so that consciousness is always there. So it's really a question of how good you are at dialing into that field to make contact. But the second thing is, unless you've really done your work on physics and, you know, that mental side of scientific understanding, which is exactly what my friend, he calls himself Lackey, you know, Ilya Lakisevich. I'm just going to call him Lackey. Lackey is a scientific, you know, monster brain. I mean, he's so intelligent. You know, every time I speak to him, he tells me something new. I mean, he's got means by which he can turn nuclear waste back into fertilizer, right? And you know, he could solve some of the really big problems in the world. So yeah, we just and the insane thing is that he's living pretty much in poverty in Serbia, but he's super happy. You know, he's the most upbeat person I've ever met. He's just like grinning. He's like, "Hey, Tim, you got to live the life. You got to love the life." And there's me getting down about not making any sales and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, you know, it'll all come good. Wow. What's that spiral triangles going on there?
This is memories from being on ship. This is the same sort of technology they use with handprints, and these is the codes that go round with the programming, but that's what it looks like, the control panel when you put your hand down. So this is a design that I signed a contract, and I'm sure I'm out of contract now, to NASA. And when I sent them an engine, a quantum drive engine. So that's just a quick design of my design, and I to sign non-disclosure on that and a secret thing, and gave them permission to use it in this solar system and out of this solar system was on the contract. So I'm just giving these because you can show these to your friend and he'll make sense of them later. But that was on a ship. That's all this is a drive within the ship. That's all light column. When it's powering down, these are little cubes of light, quantum light within inside. So that's a power drive. That's what I took a photograph of. Sorry, he'll make sense. I did do quantum physics at uni as well, so I just to understand what these images were, because they weren't just art I was getting. So, and that is what they showed me. I got this a while ago, and this is like the new bit of the universe we're in, and all the universe is coming in, and that's maybe the field you were talking about on at an atomic level. But that's what I got was in an image when they showed me on the screens. This is where we're going. This is where we were. This is what the universe in harmony looks like. So that's that. This is activated software, self-activating software. They're just telling me that's what it's called. That's what you see, like living light on a ship when you go in there and you've seen the screens and stuff. It's not like our television screens, it's holographic, and you'll see these codes going around in the different colours, and you've seen it on like Doctor Strange, if you've seen stuff like that. So this is one for your friends. So that's one of those cubes in that engine. That's what they look like next to each other, the pairs of cubes, like you said about the two atoms that you were talking about.
That's exactly the sort of thing that he draws.
Yeah, and the other one I have got a picture of that little picture you've got, but I've got it with a man with all the funnels coming in. And that's what I was looking for when you showed me that. It's like, oh, that's my picture of a man with all the funnels coming into him doing the same thing. So I have got that somewhere. I can't find it right now, but I will find it. But yeah, I've got lots and lots of images because I'm like a photographer. I will go upstairs, and because I'm an artist, I can take a snapshot and come back and draw it. And then when I wake up, it's like, what are all these images? I don't get them. So I went to university, did chemistry and science, all the sciences, and quantum physics was the only thing that explained what the images I was getting. So yeah, I would love to have him on. What do you think, Brandon? Get this guy on and have a chat with him.
I don't see why not.
I spent like 6 months talking to him, just trying to get my head round a lot of what he's saying. I mean, he goes deep into this stuff. So I've got the surface level, and my talent is to translate what he says into normal English, I hope. But even then, it's a bit too much for a lot of people, because many people don't even understand that vibrational beings. You know, there's a long history of deception that you know, and programming that has to be undone. So for sure he talk to you. Yeah.
There's a guy called Ryan. I don't know if you know Ryan DeRowan. He makes devices as well, not just what he sells to the public and he shows on his videos. He downloads stuff like this, and he can probably know or he's in contact with a lot of people who bring things into physicality as well. So maybe he'll get this via Laura and
what's his name?
Ryan DeRowan. Laura can put the link in for him, I'm sure, and add you to the group. But he's very talented at making organ-like devices, Tesla coils. Even though I understand it and I do the draw, he actually makes the stuff. he can probably make the stuff. If he put them two together, and it's like, bang, there you go, we've got our quantum drives and our technology. We can bypass the system, and we can bypass the government that are hiding all this. I mean, if you think there's only how many of us here, 6 of us here, 7 of us here doing this and pulling this in, how many other groups? They can't. If we all do this, how they can't stop us all bringing this technology forward. So that's all I'm saying. Sorry, go on, Laura.
I keep forgetting where the mute button is. Ryan also, I think, knows someone that used to study with the actual Tesla. I think that's how he got his Tesla coil. And he's also involved in some, like, a couple of companies that are trying to bring more financing into doing this kind of stuff. So he'd be a really perfect contact for you, I think, because I had thought about that earlier too. So I'm glad you confirmed it. And I also want to say, have you tried to go outside of London to pull the information down? Because I just moved from outside of a big city, and it's very, very different, the energy. And Ryan kept talking about these like 4D grids that are on top of the big cities. So that could also be part of the issue.
Yeah. You do go to Glastonbury a lot, don't you?
I did, yeah. I went 2 or 3 times last summer. Absolutely loved it, and yeah, I just feel a real great vibe there for sure. And it's just, you know, it's such a good connection. And watching the sunrise on the top of the Tor is just out of this world. It's probably one of the most beautiful experiences.
Yeah, go on, Brandon. I know he's itching. He's just been there.
Yeah, right. So cool. I'll send you all a little video that I made on the top of there, playing some guitar and stuff. You know, had a bit of fun up there. So yeah.
Yeah, we did quite a bit. I was telling Brandon earlier because he was on. Do you know when we had the airport shut down over here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I literally within just half an hour before they shut the airport down, I was flying into Southampton to go to do my grid on the equinox. I think that was September, and I think you just flown out, hadn't you, Brandon? And it's just like, and I know Ryan's done the Glastonbury grid as well, so he's got his codes from there and he's put them there. So we're all connected. We just need to sort of start pulling in our teams now and sort of swapping our information. Sorry, go on, Brandon. I'd love you to tell about what you got when you came over here.
Well, when so I'll tell you about my whole trip. It was crazy. When you literally just let the universe work for you. And about 1.5 years ago, something was pulling me to Glastonbury. It wasn't my quantum healing and my past life regression with being a Knights Templar and hiding secrets. It wasn't that. I just knew something in me was pulling me to Avalon. And my buddy, through we spoke about this earlier. My buddy that was in the intelligence field with me. That I'm a former intel operative for the DoD. He was a former partner of mine, and he had a vision and a quantum healing and an Akashic record, all 3 saying that he needed to walk to me from Montana, and I live in North Carolina. And he's like, yeah, I can't disobey this because I feel it in my heart. And I'm like, okay, man, if you walk here, because I was doubting him, and I was like, if you walk here, I'll pay for the entire trip. And I'm unemployed disabled veteran. And he's like, okay. I doubted him. I did not think he was going to start walking. But sure enough,